When you make a promise to yourself, when you open your mouth and declare that you are going to do something, heaven listens, the earth takes note, and your own soul bears witness. The moment those words leave your lips, you have entered into a covenant with purpose. But the question is, will you stay committed to what you said you would do when it stops feeling exciting, when it stops being convenient, when it costs more than you thought it would cost? Because anybody can make a promise in comfort, but only the committed can keep it in conflict. Commitment is not proven in the announcement, it's proven in the endurance. It's easy to speak vision when everything looks clear, but can you still walk in that same vision when the path is dark? Can you hold on to your yes when everything around you screams no? That's where true greatness is born, in the tension between your declaration and your difficulty, because purpose will always test the promise. You said you wanted to grow, didn't you? Then don't be surprised when life sends you through growing pains. You said you wanted to lead, then don't run. When leadership demands loneliness, you said you wanted success, then you better learn how to survive the seasons of silence, when nobody claps, when nobody notices, when the only thing keeping you moving is the echo of your own word. Staying committed means showing up when the feeling fades. It means keeping your vow even when your emotions change. You cannot build destiny on feelings. They shift like the wind. You must build it on principles that don't move. People who stay committed understand that faithfulness is not glamorous. It's not always celebrated. Sometimes it's repetitive, sometimes it's mundane, sometimes it's painful, but it's necessary. The discipline you despise today will produce the results you dream of tomorrow. So don't pray for opportunity and run from obligation. Don't cry for the blessing and ignore the burden that comes with it. You have to carry both the promise and the process if you want to see the purpose fulfilled. Some of you started out with fire, with passion, with energy. You told yourself you were going to finish that degree, build that business, repair that relationship, change that habit. But somewhere along the way, discouragement whispered, maybe it's not for you. A distraction came dressed as comfort. Delay disguised itself as denial, and now you're tempted to settle for halfway, to say, maybe later. But listen, you can't abandon what you birthed just because it's crying louder than you expected. You can't quit on your purpose because the process got hard. Every time you walk away from what you said you would do, you teach yourself how to live beneath your calling. But every time you stay, every time you persevere, every time you get up again and again, you build character, you build strength, you build credibility with your own soul. Stay committed when they forget your name. Stay committed when doors close in your face. Stay committed when support turns into silence, because the same people who overlook you now will one day ask how you endured, and you'll tell them, it wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it was commitment. It was the decision to keep showing up, to keep sowing, to keep believing, even when there was no evidence that it was working. That's how dreams are fulfilled. That's how destiny is forged, not by those who start strong, but by those who refuse to stop. Because when you stay committed long enough, what was once a burden becomes your breakthrough. The struggle you hated becomes the strength you needed. The closed door you cried over becomes the redirection that saved you. So stand firm. Hold your word like it's sacred. Protect your promise like it's life itself. Because it is. Your word shapes your world. Your consistency creates your credibility. Stay committed to what you said you would do, and watch your world transform in ways you never imagined. When you make a promise to yourself, you have to understand that it's more than a sentence you spoke out loud. It's a spiritual contract. The moment you declared it, something inside of you shifted. Something in the atmosphere took note. Your words have power, and when you said, "I will," every force of resistance began to test if you truly meant it. You cannot just speak commitment, you have to live it. You have to embody it when no one's looking, when no one's clapping, when the applause has faded and the pressure has risen. The proof of your purpose isn't found in your excitement at the start. It's found in your endurance through the storm. There will come a time when you will question the very thing you once prayed for. You will wonder if you made the right choice, if the vision you had was too big, too bold, too hard. You will have moments when you want to walk away, moments when the weight feels heavier than the reward. But that's when you must remember why you started. That's when you must reach deep into your soul and grab hold of the promise you made to yourself. You didn't say yes because it was easy. You said yes because it was destiny. You said yes because something in you refused to settle for ordinary. Commitment is not about convenience. It's about conviction. It's about staying rooted when the ground shakes, about believing when the results don't. Show about working when you're weary and trusting when you can't trace the plan. Because the truth is, purpose doesn't unfold on your schedule. It doesn't always come packaged in comfort. Sometimes it looks like frustration, like delay, like disappointment. But hidden inside those difficult moments is the very material that will shape your strength. Every challenge is carving out the character needed to carry what you asked for. Every setback is stretching your faith so that your heart can hold the weight of your future. You can't quit every time you feel the pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. You can't ask for greatness and run from the process that produces it. Commitment means you stay even when it's hard. You show up even when you're tired. You keep pushing even when progress is invisible. Because something powerful happens when you refuse to break. Your spirit begins to harden against excuses. Your mind becomes disciplined. Your will becomes unshakable. That's when you stop being driven by emotion and start being powered by purpose. Most people lose not because they don't have talent, but because they don't have consistency. They confuse motivation with commitment. Motivation gets you started. Commitment keeps you standing. Motivation fades when it rains, but commitment builds an ark. You can't be the kind of person who only moves when it feels good, who only works when the crowd is cheering. The most successful people you see today are not those who had it easy. They are those who kept showing up when nothing made sense. They trusted their process long enough for the harvest to appear. And that's what staying committed really is. It's trusting your own word. It's believing that the same voice that said, "I will," is capable of following through, no matter how long it takes. Every time you keep your word, you strengthen your integrity. Every time you hold on, you train your spirit to resist giving up. The world honors results, but heaven honors endurance. What you do when nobody sees you determines what will be seen when your time comes. Stay committed to what you said you would do, because the version of you you're becoming depends on it. When you make a promise to yourself, it is not just a casual statement. It is a declaration of intent, a commitment that sets your life in motion. Words are powerful. They carry energy, they carry expectation, and they carry responsibility. The moment you say, "I will do this," you have summoned forces that will test your resolve. Life has a way of showing up with challenges that are directly proportional to the size of your promise. The bigger the commitment, the bigger the resistance. And that resistance is not meant to stop you. It is meant to shape you, to strengthen you, to reveal whether your heart is truly invested in what you said you would do. Staying committed is not about convenience or comfort. It is about consistency and courage. It is about showing up when excitement has faded, when the applause has gone silent, when your body is tired and your spirit feels worn. Everyone wants to start strong, but very few are willing to endure the long, lonely seasons where the work is unseen, the progress feels invisible, and the temptation to quit whispers relentlessly in your ear. True commitment is choosing to honor your word despite how you feel. It is choosing to keep moving when the circumstances do not seem favorable. It is choosing to trust the process even when the path is unclear. There will be days when you ask yourself why you even began. There will be moments when the task ahead seems too difficult, when the vision seems too big, when every door seems to close in your face. That is precisely when your commitment is being tested. That is when your character is being built. When you refuse to give up in those moments, you are training yourself to endure, to persist, to rise above temporary discomfort in pursuit of a greater outcome. Every struggle, every setback, every delay is an opportunity to refine your spirit, to sharpen your focus, to strengthen your resolve. The commitment you honor in private will produce results that are visible in public. It is easy to make promises when everything feels easy. It is easy to be dedicated when everyone is watching. But the real measure of your commitment is what you do when no one is looking, when the world is quiet, when discouragement surrounds you, and when your own doubts scream louder than any encouragement you've ever received. Commitment is built in the repetition of small acts, the discipline of doing what you said you would do, even when it is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unnoticed. Every small step taken in faith compounds into progress. Every day you honor your word builds momentum that cannot be stopped. Some of you have dreams that have been delayed because you allowed inconsistency to creep in. Some of you have seen potential doors open only to close because you wavered, because you were distracted, because you did not have the discipline to continue. Do not confuse delay with denial. Do not allow temporary difficulty to derail permanent destiny. Staying committed means holding your vision, nurturing your passion, and acting on your promise no matter the cost. It means refusing to compromise on your word, refusing to settle for less, refusing to allow fear to dictate your action. Every promise you keep builds integrity. Every commitment you honor strengthens your character. Every time you refuse to quit, you are reinforcing the belief that your word has power, that your life has purpose, that your destiny is worth the effort. The greatest achievements are never the result of a momentary decision. They are the result of consistent, persistent, disciplined action over time. You cannot rush it. You cannot skip the process. And you cannot give up halfway. Those who persevere, those who stay faithful to their commitments, those who refuse to abandon what they promised themselves, are the ones who will ultimately receive the fulfillment that everyone else only talks about. Your promise is sacred. Your word is powerful. The act of following through on what you said you would do is more than discipline. It is an expression of respect for yourself, an alignment with your purpose, and a declaration to the universe that you are not moved by circumstance, but guided by conviction. Stay committed to your word, and you will discover strength you never knew you had, resilience that cannot be shaken, and a future that reflects the depth of your perseverance. When you commit to something, you are making a declaration that goes beyond mere words. You are staking a claim on your future. You are telling the world and, more importantly, telling yourself that this matter, this goal, this dream is not negotiable. But the journey from declaration to fulfillment is rarely easy. Life will test you not because it wants to see you fail, but because it knows that greatness cannot be achieved without pressure. Every time you said, "I will," a force began to align against you, and that force is meant to stretch you, to strengthen you, to reveal whether your heart is truly aligned with your promise. Commitment is not about the moments when it feels easy or exciting. It is about the moments when it feels impossible. It is about showing up when you are tired, when your body wants rest, when your mind wants comfort, and your soul knows it must persevere. Many people start strong, full of enthusiasm, only to falter when the work becomes monotonous, when the reward is delayed, or when obstacles appear insurmountable. Staying committed means deciding that your vision is bigger than your excuses. It means saying to yourself, "I am going to do what I said I would do, no matter how I feel." That is the hallmark of a person who will ultimately succeed. Every challenge you encounter along the way is an opportunity to grow. Every delay, every setback, every moment of frustration is refining your strength and sharpening your resolve. When life becomes hard, it is not a signal to quit. It is an invitation to rise. It is in those moments, when nobody is watching, when no encouragement is coming, when the progress feels invisible, that commitment proves itself. What you do in private will determine what you are recognized for in public. Character is built in the silent places, in the unseen effort, in the persistence that refuses to bow to circumstance. Commitment requires discipline, and discipline is not always exciting. Discipline means doing what is necessary, not what is easy. It means taking the steps no one else will take, making sacrifices no one else understands, and keeping promises when it would be convenient to break them. The person who achieves their dreams is not one who simply desires them, but the one who consistently acts on their promises, day after day, when no one is applauding, when motivation fades, and when the path seems unclear. That is the difference between those who merely dream and those who achieve. There will be moments of doubt. You will question whether the path is worth it. You will encounter voices that tell you to give up, obstacles that appear too big to overcome, and times when the weight of responsibility feels unbearable. But those moments are precisely why commitment is essential. When you hold fast to your word, even in difficulty, you are creating a foundation for success that cannot be shaken. Every step taken in perseverance builds momentum, and that momentum carries you forward when your strength feels insufficient. Consistency is the secret ingredient to accomplishment. Talent without persistence will fade. Motivation without discipline will vanish. It is the daily acts of commitment, the choice to keep showing up, the refusal to abandon what you promised yourself, that builds the life you envisioned. Each promise kept becomes a brick in the foundation of your destiny, each sacrifice a thread in the fabric of your character. Those who endure, those who remain steadfast, those who honor their word despite circumstances, are the ones who experience the fullness of their dreams. Your commitment speaks louder than your intentions. Your actions will define your reality far more than your words ever could. By staying committed to what you said you would do, you demonstrate to yourself and to the world that your word matters, your dreams matter, and your life matters. Commitment is the bridge between vision and fulfillment, between desire and achievement. It is the choice to persevere when quitting would be easier, the courage to continue when the way forward seems blocked, and the faith to trust that the effort you put in today will bear fruit tomorrow. Every time you honor your promises, you strengthen your character. Every time you refuse to abandon what you started, you reinforce your integrity. Every time you persist through difficulty, you cultivate resilience. Commitment is not a momentary act. It is a lifestyle. It is the daily decision to stay true to your word, to your purpose, and to the vision you have declared. Those who grasp this truth and live it will find that the life they envisioned is not only possible, it is inevitable.